Challenges of living abroad. I'm Bill Holliday with AIO Financial. We're fee-only financial advisors, and I've been living off and on, well, in the Mexican-US border, but off and on in northern Mexico. Before that, I was in Nicaragua for a couple of years. There are challenges. It's exciting. It does seem glamorous. It looks great on Instagram or TikTok, but there's some lonely moments. There's some adjusting that definitely takes place. And so I'm just going to go through some different issues. So hopefully you don't feel like you're the only one feeling this. It's not straightforward unless you've always grew up living abroad or traveling all the time or moving regularly. There's some things that take some time to get used to. So, and I guess we'll go over some coping or tips. So religion, cultural norms, I can mostly speak to Latin America of course, coming from the US, but this would be different in different areas, of course. The Catholicism's pretty uniform. I found it in various degrees. I mean, a lot of the people, my wife and her family are very light Catholic. They don't go to church on Sundays, but they'll do the quinceañeras or do baptisms. It does, at least in my experience, it hasn't been a big issue. It's not a big conversation topic, but it is part of the culture. And in different families, I'm sure it's more important of a piece. So just be aware of that. And of course, different religions in different areas. Just my tip, I guess, would be respectful. Show up for the quinceañeras, show up for the baptisms. I'm the godfather of some kid. I'm not Catholic, but you just go through the steps and be respectful. Language is a challenge. Now, Spanish is a pretty relatively easy language. I know there's others that could be even more of a challenge. And the older you start, the harder it is. I'm never going to get rid of my accent, I'm sure. But it's part of it's fun. It's nice learning. It's cool when you reach different levels, can understand songs or understand something. But it can be tricky. It can still be tricky. I still can get in these group situations where I can't follow the conversation or it gets slang. Conversations where a lot of slang is being used and I do miss pieces. It's just an ongoing process. There's never some point where you're automatically native unless you've begun since early on. But for a lot of us, especially us older people, it's just an ongoing thing. You slowly work at, but it's worth working at. It's definitely worth working at. It makes your experience better, more interesting. You connect more. So there's apps, there's conversation groups, just immerse yourself, get rid of any shyness. People do appreciate you making the effort. Shared cultural references. I found this with my wife. Just historically, I don't know the TV shows that were on when they were kids. I don't know the movies. I don't know the styles or some of the political references I'm missing. So some of the conversations I'm just missing out on. And, if it's one-on-one or people are taking their time, they'll explain things. But it's same here. We as Americans have a lot of history or shared history that you could just say something, Gilligan's Island, and you know what that history is or what's behind it. And that's missing. So it's fine. Just stay curious, ask questions. It's all good. It's just that you do feel a little separated. Along with the religion, language, you just feel a little bit separated. And you just do the best you can to connect, but can be a missing piece. I found that with language too, that my personality isn't the same, especially when I was just learning, because just trying to battle to communicate. And you can't be funny or throw a pun in, or it's really, you're just trying to get by and be friendly. So it changes your connection with people. It takes time to get deeper connections, language being number one on that list. Music, history, holidays, things are unfamiliar, which can be fun. It's great. You're learning something new, learning the new culture, seeing what's going on there. But you may be missing some of the traditions that were important to you, a Thanksgiving or a Halloween. You'll may be missing those, and that's okay. but just be ready for some of these changes. Pace of life and efficiency. I've noticed this a lot. The court system, if you have to deal with the courts, at least in Mexico, it can be so slow. And if things can be delayed, permits, appointments, setting up a business. In the US, it is fast. You can just register a business online fast. You're off, you have your LLC and you're running. It's slower. Setting up accounts, moving money, just things are slower. And I've noticed that. I'm ready to pay good money for someone to do repairs, and they'd rather enjoy the beach day or just not show up. And I've had that in the US too, but just you have to be patient. Things might not move with the same mentality is a little different. I just always think of client first. You want to get that referral. You want to make them happy. You're showing up early, working hard. Sometimes it happens. There's a variety. You can't paint everyone with one brush, but it might be different than what you're used to. I guess I'll leave it at that. Bureaucracy. I've noticed that with a lot. Setting up bank accounts, I've gone back and forth, and it's taken several visits and a lot of time to get bank accounts, the appropriate paperwork and stamps. Just, it's helpful to dress professionally. I think that carries more weight in some places. Try to be there on time and bring everything you think you need to avoid extra trips. And even things that seem unnecessary, just the order of events, you have to pay and bring the receipt back, and you just play by their rules. So it might not be the most efficient, but that might be what you're dealing with. I'd be surprised if you moving out of the US into a new country, you don't feel some of this, just super excitement. It's fun moving, even within the US. I remember moving and just having new hikes or new things to do. Outside the US, even more, just super exciting, just day trips or visiting or exploring. And then you could get frustrated, can get homesick. But once you get some routines, get some friends, get some connections, makes it easier. And then you try to make it your new home, the pros and cons of it. You're not going to be replacing things one to one. You're going to find your new routine, your new exercise or activities, your new things that work for you in this new place. And just know emotions will fluctuate. I'd be shocked if you're not homesick at times. It was never like a rah-rah US in the Olympics or big defender of US politics. But when you're outside the country and your country's getting picked on, you get a little proud or a little annoyed. It's just funny. Your attitudes can change. I'll leave it there. Journaling, I guess if that works for you. Talking with others helps for me. It's helpful to find other people going through the same thing. Building new relationships. Even in the US, even in your own country, it's hard building adult friends. In a new country, it's hard. People are working, they have kids, they have family, they already have friends and routines. But try activities, language, sports, hobbies, hiking. There's a lot of activities that it's worth putting yourself out there to try to connect. It's tough with local people. If they know you're there for the long run, they'll make an effort. If they think you're a tourist, a lot of people aren't going to make that much of an effort, of course. But if there's clubs, volunteering, if there's things you can get into and regularly see the same people, you'll meet people, and that's very rewarding. Foods, sure. And I've complained, just less grease. I'd like less salt, or I'd like just things like I'm used to or was used to. You find your way around. Holidays, some things will trigger loneliness. Physically, it's tough. I know stomach issues. A lot of us will go through stomach issues. Just it's different food, and some of those days are the worst, right? I just wish I was in a safe, secure, comfortable, known environment. And if you could long for that. So to cope with it, your comforts, maybe someone's sending you food or you're creating food the best you can to match what you're used to. Stay in touch is big, but you don't want to just build Zoom relationships all the time. Now and again, a weekly call with friends or family is worth it. and new routines for sure. Talk with other Americans is helpful. I know I've gotten some bad feedback for seeking out other Americans, but there is something to having people with this common history, common language. That language, it gets tiring just speaking in a different language all the time, especially initially. It's really tiring just translating and figuring it out. It gets easier and easier and less tiring, but it's still nice to be able to use your English. It just feels comfortable sometimes. And you actually sometimes forget English words, so it's nice to practice. Just know that that's going to happen. That's not strange. You're not failing in your mission if you feel lonely and homesick and everyone else is putting up these great YouTube videos or TikTok or whatever they're doing. You're not alone. We're all going through it, but we're not going to film ourselves throwing up every day. We're going to film the happy moments, and that's going to make you feel like you're missing something. Financial surprises. I guess, yeah, this is good. I mean, when you're doing your budget, just know there's going to be some surprises. Tax reporting, healthcare expenses, inflation, the currency rates can be changing. If your income's coming in dollars, that may go further some months than other months. Unexpected expenses, anywhere you go, that happens. Just you don't know what's going to happen healthcare wise. Do your homework, especially if you're moving dollars regularly. I mostly use Wise, but don't be too lazy about, oh, this is the bank I have in the US, so I'm just using it to transfer money, but or I'm wiring and incurring a fee each time. Do some homework for sure to avoid extra expenses. Respectful immigration, well, any other financial surprises? I guess, yeah, seeking locals, getting referrals is helpful. Dual pricing, that's usually because tourists are not going to be repeat customers and they might have a different higher price. If you're a regular somewhere, eventually you're going to just get local pricing. That's not just to be aware of, I guess. Respectful immigration, you're representing us. You're representing the US in your trek over abroad. So there's only about 2% of Americans that live abroad. On the internet, it seems like there's a lot more, but it's not that many. Most people want to stay in the country, at least where they were born. So there's not that many. Do us proud. Be respectful. Join that community. You're there to embrace that culture, not displace people that are there. Support the local businesses. You don't have to go to the US chain stores all the time or restaurants. Support local services, local businesses. Be respectful. Do us proud. All right. What else are we going to say? Well, pay your taxes. Follow immigration rules, your visa rules. Avoid isolating it. It can be comfortable just finding your own expat little world, but as much as you can, it's helpful to expand out and become part of the community. It's a cultural exchange. I remember that in the Peace Corps, that part of our mission was this volunteering mission to do something useful and sustainable, but the other was just a cultural exchange. I was there as a representative of the US for this community who didn't have much exposure to gringos. And I was taking my experience back with me, and that was part of the mission. This is the same, that your actions are what a lot of people are going to think of Americans. So do what you can. Attend local events, support the community. Sure. Don't impose your home country's norms. Definitely try to be respectful, adjust. Know that discomfort is part of it. Embrace the challenge. It's fun. It's a good process. It is good. It's hard at times, but it's good. And it's life-changing for sure. But I wish you the best. If you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, I appreciate it. And take good care. Oh, I guess here's our contact information. AIOfinancial.com. Subscribe. Let us know. We're fee-only advisors. We help people with retirement planning, investment management, taxes, insurance, estate planning. We do have some free ebooks, and we're going to try to do some discovery trips to Mexico and Spain in 2026 if you're interested. All right, let me know. Thanks. Bye.